please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Yesterday, we saw a sharp surge on the Wall Street from lows, near 100-point up move seen on the Dow. The Asian markets not taking that cue. In fact, they've started off lower.
The last 2 days, the worst of, absolute worst of the near-term fall may be done.
There goes the bell, and it is a third of a percent higher actually. 10,620 taken, 622 now.
IRDA is likely to meet at around 11 o'clock today to consider that very crucial proposal of LIC picking up a significant stake when it comes to IDBI Bank.
HDFC Bank appointed Girish Chandra Chaturvedi as non-executive part-time chairman with effect from July 1st.
It's not a sale of government stake. It is fresh issuance of shares. So this is going to be LIC capitalizing IDBI Bank.
Instead of going for an IPO now, they have launched a sale process for a significant minority stake in the airports division.
First half of this year, well, the Nifty has put on roughly around 150 points.
रुपए में कोई depreciation नहीं हुआ.
Okay, sharp recovery in the market. That's the Nifty chart. Interestingly, just pull out the Bank Nifty chart. The last 5 minutes, all of a sudden, there's a big selling which has taken place on Bank Nifty, which has almost taken it into the red. Just look at that. Very interesting, because that was the one index which was doing well so far, but today definitely has underperformed, and the Nifty is still up 100 points. Bank Nifty is almost in the red. Normally doesn't happen. So let's see how things pan out. But mid-caps, of course, today has been a good day. This is closing by Manoj with me, Surbhi. Hi, Surbhi. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Anuj, there been such a sudden drop in that index. It's the first day of the new series. It's not a typical sort of an expiry day. I'm looking at some of the main.
Bank.
Yeah, it's the HDFC, I guess, bank that's really leading it.
We were discussing it yesterday in closing bell. That move that happened at 3 p.m. was that fake move in HDFC Bank, and that will reverse. Essentially, that's how it's played out. Yesterday we had capitulation for 2 days, and the morning we discussed that the absolute worst is done, perhaps in the mid-cap, just for the near term. And today, a lot of stocks are going up with not too much volumes, and that would happen because right now retail would be too scared to buy anything, and any kind of buying would propel the stocks higher, Surabhi. But make no mistake, this still remains a vulnerable market. What you're seeing right now, of course, is a lot of buying and a lot of beaten down names. Essentially, smart money taking advantage of the fact that there's too much of scare right now to buy these stocks, and just some bit of buying can propel the stocks higher. So take advantage of that. That's playing out. This move on Bank Nifty, let's see if it's something more sinister than anything, especially because it's been driven by HDFC Bank. But overall, it's Friday. Let's see. Last hour could be really interesting.
So, Anuj, just a follow-up. I mean, what does this week tell us? Because we came below the 10,700 level. I mean, far below that. Then there is a bounce. Today, we've chosen to take support at the 50 DMA. What does this sort of tell you? Is the original range still intact, or is that under threat now?
No, that is under threat. Also, today we have seen a sharp rally in the emerging markets as well.
Yeah.
The emerging market index month to date was down 7%. That's seen some bit of pullback. So, if we close above this level, then perhaps you can say that you're back in the range. But there's a risk that that range has broken down. Today, Hang Seng is up 1.6%. Dow futures are up 200 points. So obviously, the market's got a bit of a tailwind from global support.
Absolutely. European markets, by the way, are also up. It seems some of those immigration issues have been sorted out. So the headlines are positive in Europe, which is why you're seeing a gain across that continent as well. So those are some of the markets doing pretty well for the time being. Let's get started and tell you what's lined up on Closing Bell today. We're discussing the market, the macros, and of course, interesting stock themes with Kashyap Pujara of Axis Capital. We get you market fundamental views with Mr. SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com. We also have Prakash Diwan and Devang Mehta of Centrum Wealth Management joining in on the fundamentals. And as always, lots of trading ideas coming your way with technical experts joining in over the last 1 hour of trade.
Okay, I don't know if it was a fat finger error or whatever. If you see the Nifty futures chart, there's been large selling and large volume in the last 3 or 4 minutes. How should you position yourself in this last hour then? Ashwani Gujral and Mitesh Thakkar with us. Good afternoon. Ashwani, rather interesting market. We have the mid-cap index of
Axis Capital. We get you market fundamental views with Mr. SP Tulsian of sptulsian.com. We also have Prakash Diwan and Devang Mehta of Centrum Wealth Management joining in on the fundamentals. And as always, lots of trading ideas coming your way with technical experts joining in over the last 1 hour of trade.
Okay, I don't know if it was a fat finger error or whatever, if you see the Nifty futures chart, there's been large selling and large volume in the last 3 or 4 minutes. How should you position yourself in this last hour then? Ashwani Gujral and Mitesh Thakkar with us. Good afternoon. Ashwani, rather interesting market. We have the Midcap index up 1.5%, the Nifty up 1%, the Bank Nifty up only 0.2%. Your thoughts and last hour calls?
See, it's a very slow pullback, and you know, the large, stronger stocks are not really participating. So while, you know, mid caps could do you know, couple of days of further pullback, but large caps, there is no clear leadership. So that way, you know, 10,700 is that fulcrum zone, and we are almost at the turning point of that. You know, I would probably take you know, some short positions on Bank Nifty here, because the way you know, last 5 minutes bar has panned out, I would think that the bears plan to hold 10,700. So possibly, you know, a stop can be placed around 10,720, because all day today, you know, whatever HDFC Bank gained yesterday, I think more than that has been lost. But some interesting trades are playing out in any case, where, you know, ICICI Bank has made some sort of bottom near you know, the 265, 270 zone. So there, you know, something can be bought with a stop around 270. Look for targets of 285. Also, you know, Axis Bank, you know, along with ICICI Bank, is seeing some upside. So these are, you know, dead and beaten, and you know, stocks which have shorts. So this is a buy with a stop 507, target of 524, and Yes Bank is up 3.5%. So there you can buy with a stop of 335, target of 360.
Okay, so a couple of ideas coming in from Ashwini. By the way, in general, there's a bit of a surge on metal stocks, particularly some of the steel names. Tata Steel right now days high, JSPL days high, Hindalco, Vedanta. Anyway, all these stocks are being positive today. So metals continue to be a shining spot. Let's also bring in Mitesh into the conversation. Mitesh, how are you reading this rebound today? I mean, is the quintessential dead cat bounce, or does it signal that maybe the worst of selling is over at least for now? And of course, your stock ideas.
Good afternoon, Surabhi. So I think, you know, in the morning I was indicating that 10,680, 700 should be your ideal shorting zone. Get there. We have taken some short exposure, and as Ashwini mentioned, 10,725 on the spot or just above that remains your stop loss. So till now it looks like more of a situation when looks like a rebound from the oversold levels. Especially, I think, you know, if the Bank Nifty starts to get under pressure and come down, I think that will possibly call an early end to this bounce back. In case we start going past 10,720, then we are back into that 130 point kind of a range. So I think these are good levels to take short in case, you know, these levels hold. Good chance that the lows of 10,590, 560 will be revisited. So you get a good risk reward equation trading from here. On the stock side, I have one buy and one sell, but as clearly, I think, you know, quite inclined towards taking more of short positions. TVS Motors a sell with a stop at 561. I would look for price target of roughly around 530 over there. And Adani Ports, the intraday charts are slightly stronger now, so maybe take away tight stop loss at 364 levels and go long for targets of around 375, 377.
Fair enough. Well, the theme today has been to play some of the beaten down stocks. So ONGC is now making high of the day, NMDC is making highs of the day, MRF has made high of the day. As Surabhi pointed out, perhaps the sector of the last hour really is steel. Jindal Steel and Power now up 7.5%. JSW Steel also seeing a bit of a pullback right now. Mr. Ulsan, good afternoon. Your thoughts on the metals rally? Of course, we've had a bit of a global tailwind as well today, but stocks like Jindal Steel right now up 7%.
See, Anuj, with rupee weakening, because if you really take a call first on non-ferrous metal, all the prices are import parity prices, you know, where the LME prices are converted into the domestic prices, and accordingly the prices are fixed, whether it is for zinc, aluminium or copper. And if I come on the ferrous steel also, because actually ferrous steel has not seen any kind of tapering of the demand. In fact, this is what I've been saying, that in the month of May also, we have seen the prices of flat products and long products that have increased by JSW Steel, Jindal Steel, Steel Authority, and even the smaller players, maybe like Sarda Energy, Prakash Industries, Sunflag and kind of stocks. So I think overall now even non-ferrous metal started catching up because of the rupee weakening, as I've said, and the ferrous metal continues to be. So probably the global tailwinds coupled with the weak rupee is helping the metal sector here. Yeah.
Okay, metals really sector of the moment. Prakash, afternoon. So the stock of the afternoon really is GAIL Gas, already up 6% in a market like this. I don't know whether it's some reporter now suggesting the company won't be broken up. Maybe that's kind of taking away an overhang. I'm not quite sure. The stock has been very range bound, though we keep citing a lot of triggers ahead. What is your view on it?
I think it's a touch me not. It's exactly what BML went through. You have this waxing waning in terms of news flow. You're going to merge, demerge, you're going to separate the businesses. Now, the whole reality of the situation is that if the operational part of the business is not shaping up the way you expect or you anticipated, and then a lot of optimism is priced in, you are only facing a disappointment. So if that doesn't happen, you'll actually see all these stocks which kind of get the sliver of a hope, and then the hope rally kind of just fizzles out in most of these cases. So I think it's best to keep away from that. We saw Petronet LNG also move up a bit in the morning. But where is the sustainability? I mean, so most of these moves are half-baked, and then I think people still need some very strong, triggers to back things up, and where there's a fundamental change that happens in the business. I don't think GAIL is anyways featuring there. Yes, there is a possibility which is growing, Surabhi, of GST covering ATF and maybe
at least natural gas.
Yeah, maybe natural gas, and that could probably be a slightly different take. But let's get closer to, I think the 21st July is the meeting is, so a lot of speculative element will come in that time, but we'll probably evaluate it once it's clear.
Okay, clear sense of more short covering in stocks where there's been a lot of problem. SRF, for example, just see the intraday chart on that one. 1700 cross on that, of course, has been a brutal fall on that. Is there a strategy right now to buy these kind of stocks, Prakash, or you think it could be accumulated for portfolio?
I mean, you don't need to be in a hurry to do it. So do it on days where some of these stocks are down for 5%, and especially when you can't attribute any reasons to these falls. So look at Ashok Leyland. We spoke about this in the morning in the other channel. That stocks like this, Scotch. Even some of the Bad Boys Club members like Nansen and all, I mean, they've been revving up. Of course, the numbers that have come through, the results that have come through, if you want to believe those in entirety, then, the numbers do look good. So some of these stocks will give you opportunities at lower levels where risk-reward becomes much more seasoned of sorts, and you're not plunging into something into the darkness where it could still have another 20-30% fall. So I would be slightly cautious adding on some of these names. But yes, for the long-term portfolio addition, a lot of these names have started looking quite promising.
Okay. Ashwini, the way these steel stocks are rallying, it's as if the Chinese are suddenly going to shut part of their steel capacity. Suddenly, all of them are on at the day's high. Sales surging. We mentioned JSPL earlier, 7% higher. Tata Steel. Would you like to take any trades at all?
See, these are all short covering type of plays, and that is why you are seeing this kind of buying. So my sense is that at some point they will become ripe as shorts, because metals have been making fresh intermediate lows. So once this pullback rally is over, we should have further downside.
Okay, we should have further downside perhaps in some of these names once it's over. A couple of other stocks looking good. Escorts is making a bit of a move. Mr. Wilson, Jan Irrigation is not moving. Even today in a strong market, that's down about 3%, though it's off the low point. Your thoughts on the stock?
So I think few of the stocks are seen to be the victim of this all F&O margin increase and all that. Maybe SRF also falls in that category. Jan Irrigation also, because you get to hear that there was a lot of, I'm not saying that unable to draw any conclusion, but the financing kind of things, the hedging having been done in the F&O kind of things are not now seen, the position seen getting reversed. So probably that may be the reason. In fact, I thought that this weakness in SRF and Jan Irrigation will stop with the expiry. But if that is not happening, then those are the things, quite concerning things for these stocks.
Fair enough. Some statements coming in from Steel Minister. And the one that catches my eye is on SAIL, where they're talking about a profit of 3,000 crores on SAIL. Of course, also talking about seeing demand between 5 to 5%, but there's a profit figure of 3,000 crores, which the minister is predicting. I think. That's saying the street excited. So the stock right now up about 4%. We'll take a break. Up next, we'll be back with Kashyap Pujara, Executive Director and Head of Research at.
Welcome back. Here with Closing Bell, and the Midcap Index, for what it's worth, is sitting quite pretty around 18,100. We're talking a gain of 1.5% on that index. And the one stock that's seen plenty of buying today is IDBI Bank. There's about a 10% increase even as we speak on that one and still continuing. We'll discuss that and other stocks in just a moment. Let's get you some more trading ideas first up. Sandeep Barclay is joining in. Good afternoon, Sandeep. What are you working with today?
Afternoon, Surbhi. I would go with a buy in a Godrej Industries, stop loss of 608, target 636. And a buy in a Exide Industries, stop loss of 252, target 267.
Fair enough. Sandeep, thanks a lot for those trading ideas. Mr. Syan, thoughts on IDBI Bank? You reckon this rally is a selling opportunity, or considering that it's fallen a lot, this could be a bit of a value buy? I mean, your thoughts on whether this could be a bit of a turnaround case, or at least bets can be taken around that?
Anuj, I don't think that this is the time or level to sell or maybe exit from the stock. And those who are little can take little risk or can be little adventurous, I don't mind or hesitate in buying at the current level, because whatever will happen, though the contours are not known, we are all speculating that LIC will hold 40-41%, and if that happens, the government of India stake will fall to about 45%, and the joint management, we may not get liked by the market, but at least the fund infusion will be seen quite positive, and eventually we will be seeing the LIC taking over once we know the broad contours of the things, obviously subject to the regulatory permissions and relaxations which are going to be required, maybe from a Reserve Bank of India, IRDA and SEBI kind of things. But on the overall, I don't think that at the current level one should exit. And if you can take, if you have a risk appetite, then one can buy the stock at the current level as well.
Okay. Prakash, we've got the whole definite move back on today because there's one more brokerage that's joined the bandwagon. I think you're too late, but anyway, I mean, even Macquarie's target prices for HEG and Graphite are 45 to 50% from where these stocks are now. I mean, Jefferies has anyway been a big bull. Do you buy into a lot of the the analysis that's going around right now? Can these stocks still return this much?
Well, the consensus seems to be that graphite electrode rates will continue to be, closer to the mid-teens, $1,000 per kg. But the whole assumption is that it might not take too long for these rates to soften if something goes wrong or goes awry in terms of the China steel.
The fund infusion will be seen quite positive, and eventually we will be seeing the LIC taking over once we know the broad contours of the things, obviously subject to the regulatory permissions and relaxations which are going to be required, maybe from a Reserve Bank of India, IRDA and SEBI kind of things. But on the overall, I don't think that at the current level one should exit. And if you can take, if you have a risk appetite, then one can buy the stock at the current level as well.
Okay. Prakash, we've got the whole definite move back on today because there's one more brokerage that's joined the bandwagon. I think you're too late, but anyway, I mean, even Macquarie's target prices for HEG and Graphite are 45 to 50% from where these stocks are now. I mean, Jefferies has anyway been a big bull. Do you buy into a lot of the the analysis that's going around right now? Can these stocks still return this much?
Well, the consensus seems to be that graphite electrode rates will continue to be, closer to the mid-teens, $1,000 per kg. But the whole assumption is that it might not take too long for these rates to soften if something goes wrong or goes awry in terms of the China steel cycle. Now, remember, graphite electrodes as a percentage to the steel production is just under 4-5% of the cost. And it's, right now affordable for people because of the scarcity that's happened. But in case there's some disruption in supply on the positive side, on the favorable, side, these rates could kind of go for a little bit of a shake-up. And that's where, the risk is. And if that happens, everybody will want to exit at the same time. So the consensus, the reason why people are buying is very known. It's like, an overcrowded trade like GNFC. I mean, TDI, everybody knew, look at where GNFC is in spite of everything going favorably for itself. And in fact, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, the company also called for an analyst meet just to assuage some of the, feeling that this has been slightly disappointing. So, electrode, the business is such that it's very clearly visible for everybody, and if things go wrong, it will go wrong for everyone.
So there will be no exit door on a stock like this, Anuj. That's the thing.
You will see a cascade to the door by everybody. So stay where you are, but don't buy into it at these levels.
Exactly. And now with circuit having moved to 5%,
5%, yeah, you
don't know when. By the way, I just want to point out, look at Titan's chart, and Surabhi, this morning,
you've spoken about this.
We've spoken about this fact, and look at that now. Almost a 5% move is what you have on Titan. And for those who are looking for buying value, this is how it should be done. The leadership stocks which have corrected because of some supply issue or whatever, like consumption basket was in a bull market. There you have one of the bellwethers which corrected from 1,000 all the way down to 830, and then you found out that there was a reason that about 1.5% stake was sold by Mr. Jhunjhunwala, still has about 7% stake, but more that selling overhang is done now, and you have a reason why the selling was done. Prakash, your thoughts on Titan?
No, so I completely agree. In fact, I missed out on your comment on this because I was on the other channel at the same time next door. But yes, the logic is the same. The bad news is already done and over with. I mean, if you knew that he was selling off, then you should have sold, not after you got to know that he's out. And he still retains a lot of confidence where, I mean, 7.4% or whatever is still owned by the family. So it's not that, it's a reverse way that you only have 1.5 left and 7.4 is sold. The other interesting part about the likes of Titan is that, some of the larger funds which are coming in into money in terms of the SIP inflow and all, will definitely want to buy clean,
what else do you buy
consumption-driven companies.
In
and if you're getting it at 100 rupees less than what it was just about a month back, why not? So I think it's right, but I'm not saying it's a recommendation to buy Titan at 875 again, because you probably again missed out. If you wanted, you could have bought it in the morning.
Oh, yes. Actually, Mr. Wilson, we discussed it in the morning, but 4.5-5% up move actually on the stock now. Its high was, of course, 1,000, and again we're talking about context where most of the consumption stocks have been doing well. At this level, what would be the call now?
So, that's right. In fact, morning we said that. In fact, I said that yesterday afternoon also, though the news flash came this morning that Rakesh has sold the 1.25 crore shares. But actually, if you really see the valuation, because yesterday afternoon also we discussed that at the current level 830, 840, it really looks a good buy, because the stock having corrected by about 15% from the level of 990, gives a good buying opportunity in this last couple of months. So maybe I don't think that further selling, if it will not come from Rakesh, which is unlikely, may not be at a stretch, So probably this will give a good respite, and maybe on the expectations of the good numbers which are seen, because of ahead of the you have the marriage season also in this first quarter, which may see the kind of pathetic performance by the other jewelers have seen the customers moving to Titan for the jewelry mall. So taking all this into account, maybe the stock has an upside of at least level of 895 to 900. Maybe at those levels one may have to be cautious, but till then the stock can move to those levels.
Another stock that's back to firing away is Reliance Industries. Having sort of slipped from that 1,000+ level, the buying has really resumed as we're speaking right now. Let's just pull up a longer term chart of RIL as well. Slightly, of course, off those levels, the 52-week high levels. Mr. Tulsian, what would the outlook be? We're also getting into the reporting season, so we'll gradually start talking about things like GRMs, etc., and what the overall performance will be of different businesses. But do you think Reliance Industries is good for more beyond 1,000?
See, Surabhi, again, yesterday for Reliance Industries also I have said that at the 950, 945, it's really giving a very good entry point, because you will be having the AGM on coming Thursday, then the Q1 expectations of the good numbers. And in fact, all the verticals, maybe in AGM, people will be keeping an eye on the Reliance Jio and Reliance Cap, Reliance Retail roadmap going forward. And I don't think that there is any problem in that. In fact, Petchem will continue to do quite well, even on the GRM front, on the refinery segments. I don't think that there will be any problem. So in fact, again, Reliance gave a good opportunity yesterday, and even at the current level of 970, I think it looks a good buy. I won't be surprised to see the stock moving past 1,000 rupees by the AGM that is next Thursday.
Okay, fair point. Mr. Wilson, thanks a lot for your time today. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Now, Kashyap Pujara of Axis Capital is now